So, you get a lot of questions about where you order parts.
Yes.
And you've been doing this. You started this over 20 years ago, just being a hobbyist with antique pocket watches. So, when you first started, how did you know where to get your parts?
I just did research on the internet looking for parts, and it was really hard to find any place that sold parts. So I started going on eBay and looking for watches that matched the type of watch that I needed a part for, and finding ones that people were selling for parts. Sometimes people take the watch that I want, and they take the watch apart and just selling individual parts. And then sometimes I find just the whole watch movement that's being needs repair, and you usually can get those really cheap because a lot of people don't want to buy a watch and repair it, and sometimes they're in bad shape. So I'd buy those movements and then take the parts that I needed off of it and use those type of parts.
Okay. Where did you buy, because there's so much to this. I mean, there's so many parts, but there's
Right.
also things like there's this display thing that I'm not going to sit on the watches because I don't want to ruin anything, but there's this display thing right here that you set this on your desk every day.
Yeah.
And it's displayed on your
Yeah, that's
desk.
my desk clock.
That's your desk clock. Where did you get
I got that on eBay.
No, what's it called? Is it a watch display thing?
Yes, a watch display holder.
Okay, so you can get different ones.
Yeah, you can get domed display cases. You can get that type right there, that brass one.
Okay. So, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, you can. Those are pretty easy to find on eBay. I think they come out of China.
Okay. These watches here that we have in there's two South Bend. You know I love South Bend.
Yeah.
And that's just beautiful. Did any of these three watches, did you get parts for any of them, or did they come all
those
together?
came all. Well, actually, this one.
The Elgin.
The Elgin is kind of a parts watch. There were some parts that I had to get up and repair it.
Was anything on the dial? Did anything here? Was anything on the dial that you had to repair?
Actually, the dial I had hairlines in it, and I did a video on how to get the cracks.
This was the one that you did.
Yes,
for that
that's
one.
the one.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But and because that dial from another part, was that a part?
Yeah, it was off another watch that I had bought. The dial that was on that original watch was trashed really bad. It was just broken and pieces were missing and all. And then I bought another movement to get parts off of it for another watch, and it had a nice dial, so I took that dial and put it on that watch there.
Okay. So my question is, because I'm not, I know nothing about any of this at all. So I'm just going to ask a question for the beginner, because you're just starting, you're just learning what to do. And how do you know if you buy a movement, it's going to fit the watch that you have?
Well, you have to, that's a good question. And the problem is too that these watches weren't made interchangeable. The parts, one part fits all kind of didn't work with these. These were hand fitted at a factory.
So how can you get a part that works?
That's kind of the luck of the draw a lot of times, especially with jewels, because the jewel hole is sometimes either smaller or larger than the part that you're using, because it was hand fitted at a factory, and they just went through a whole tray of different size jewels and fit what needed to fit on the pivot
Okay.
of whatever, the wheel or whatever. But a lot of them are interchangeable, especially the some of the gears and things.
Okay, so what you're saying from what you just said, if you have a watch that you want to work and it doesn't work,
Right.
and you're looking on eBay,
Yes. So okay, let's take this
yeah,
this South Bend. This is
Right.
a nice railroad grade South Bend. It's a grade 227, and I needed a part for it inside of it. So
Right.
you know, we'll
right. Let me move these over a little, just a tad.
yeah. Let me take the cover off.
Yeah, take the
Back cover.
Yeah. Okay.
So normally you don't take the cover off because dust and dirt can get in.
Right.
But say I needed this part here, which is the ratchet wheel,
Right.
and I know this is a grade 227 South Bend, and so I would go say on eBay and do a search for South Bend grade 227 or model 227. I'm not sure which one it is, but that's what I would look for, and I would find a movement that might be missing the balance bridge.
Right.
That
So
might
you
be
have-
missing.
you have what
Right,
you
and
need.
nobody wants to buy that movement because it's hard to find a balance bridge.
Right.
So the guy might be wanting $10, $15 for the movement, and I'll say, well, I want that part there, so I'm willing to pay that amount of money for that part. So I'll just go ahead and buy
You're
that
thinking
movement.
that to yourself. You
Right.
don't say that to him, but
Right,
you're thinking
yes,
that to
yes,
yourself.
you think that too. And a lot of times they'll say, or best offer. And you'll say, well, he wants $15. How about if I give you $10? And he'll say, yeah, okay, because it's just been sitting there for
He just wants to
a
get rid of it.
year.
And
He
ship
just
it
wants
out,
to,
yeah.
right, he wants to make a little money off of it.
Okay.
And so you have your part that you need, and you take, and that part's going to fit. That part's going to fit.
Because it was made for that
there-
specific
right.
watch.
There's a lot of parts that will fit from one part to the other.
Okay.
The parts that really you get into is the jewels, the jewel holes, different jewel holes, and some jewel holes will work with the other.
With other types of watches?
No,
you're
with the
saying?
same
Or with the same watch.
Same watch.
Like the South Bend
Right.
227.
Right.
That's what. Okay.
Yeah, and then also they did use different parts in their different South Bend watches. Say a South Bend
Got another South Bend right
217.
here.
They would sometimes use the same parts in that watch there. That watch there is a South Bend, the Studebaker, which was the 229 South Bend. That's a real high grade railroad watch there. And they used the same parts, but they finished them a lot better in this watch. They
Okay.
put more time into this watch in
Okay.
manufacturing than they did this watch.
But
This is a little bit
some of the
lower
same
grade.
parts might
Exactly.
be.
Some of them might be able
Okay.
to work in that watch.
This is a Studebaker?
Yeah, that's called the Studebaker.
Why is it called the Studebaker?
Well, because the Studebaker brothers owned the South Bend watch factory,
Yeah.
and they just
But
Who's it?
remember
Put
the
their name-
Studebaker car?
exactly
that-
they were part of that too.
Oh my
they were real
gosh.
famous. Yeah.
I'm from around South Bend, so it's like
Yeah.
Studebaker was a big deal. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, I just learned something here. Okay, so now you've also found since you started, there's this other place that you order from. What's Dave's?
Dave's Watch Parts.
Now, how did you find out about Dave's
I-
watch parts?
On the internet, searching, and then on different Facebook groups that I'm on, on Facebook.
People suggested
People
and had good
suggesting,
comments
and,
about.
right, and they recommended Dave's Watch Parts, and so I found there, and then there's a few other little places that sell watch parts too.
Okay, what I like, I don't know about you,
But my main place is eBay.
oh, your main place is eBay.
Yeah,
What
that's
I,
my
what
go-to.
I do like is when you're on those forums and you talk with somebody who actually has purchased things or actually has, several times purchased from somebody, and they say, oh yeah, so and so, I've been dealing with him for this long, and he's always done me right, or something.
Yeah.
It's like a personal.
Yeah.
It's almost like a personal reference,
Right.
especially if they're not getting paid for anything. Like, this video is not sponsored by Dave's Watch Parts or eBay or anything. It's like these are
Yeah.
things that just you have experienced for yourself that
right.
you're sharing
Yes.
with people. And by the way, I personally think it's really good when people share their experiences in the comments. We have a lot of videos. You have a lot of videos because you
Yeah.
made them.
And also did another video on how to look up your parts.
Yeah.
So if you want to go to my playlist and look for that video, there's a book that you can still find on eBay that shows the parts, then gives the catalog number for the parts, and that's another good way to look up parts is by the catalog number.
But then where do you order it from? If
You can go on eBay there, and especially mainsprings and
okay.
different parts.
Then you know the exact part you
know
need,
the
and
exact
people
part,
will know.
right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. You could also use it on Dave's Watch Parts too, I'm guessing, or not.
Sometimes I think he does list the part numbers too
Okay.
on Dave's Parts.
Okay. All right.
And just a general Google search too. Once you have the part number, you can do a Google search on that part number, and somebody else might have that part.
Okay, that's good.
Too.
That's good information.
Yeah.
It's really good information. Okay. I have all my questions answered.
Okay.